What's up YouTube, it's the one and only Legend of Winning, aka Low, and I am back with another video. Now for the past couple of weeks, everybody has been concerned about the NBA playoffs, and rightfully so. We've seen amazing performances from young athletes such as Giannis, John Wall, and Isaiah Thomas, while also watching some of the greatest play from one of the greatest players in NBA history from LeBron James, and also seeing great play from one of the most dominant teams in NBA history with the Golden State Warriors. However, if you are not fortunate enough to root for a team that has made the playoffs, then you're probably at home, stuck like me, waiting for the NBA lottery to occur. And luckily for all of us who root for bad teams, today is a day in which the NBA lottery will happen. So what I decided to do was explain the NBA lottery to my best abilities, while also explaining where all the NBA draft picks will eventually go to. And I feel like the best way for me to explain the NBA lottery is to answer questions that are frequently asked in my comment section and that I see all throughout the internet on other social media platforms. So the first question that I consistently see is, when exactly is the NBA lottery? The NBA lottery is May 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. I do not know your local TV provider, so I can't tell you what channel that is, but again, May 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. The next question that I see pretty frequently is, what exactly is the NBA lottery, and will my team be participating in the festivities? Now, to oversimplify the entire definition of the NBA draft lottery, the lottery is a process that the NBA has selected to determine which order teams will be picking in the NBA draft. Now, is your team participating in the lottery? It all depends on who you root for. The NBA lottery is specifically composed of the 14 teams that did not make the playoffs. And from those 14 teams, each team gets specific odds based on their regular season record, which will determine how great of a chance they have in receiving the first or second or third pick. Which then leads into probably the most asked question: what exactly are the odds of my team getting the first overall pick? And here you go. Now this right here shows you every team in the NBA lottery and the odds that they have in the first overall pick. Teams from the Brooklyn Nets all the way to the Miami Heat. However, this is where I have to step in and give further explanation about the NBA lottery, because this graphic that you're seeing now, I see way too often. The NBA lottery is much more sophisticated than what a lot of people actually understand. And the birth of this misconception came from numbers like this. However, the oversimplification doesn't do it justice. You need to be looking at these numbers. This graphic right here not only breaks down what your team's odds are when it comes to potentially being selected for the first pick in the NBA draft, but it also breaks down the second and third pick. Now, why exactly do you need to know that? It's because that is how the NBA draft lottery is selected, which then leads into the big question: how exactly does a lottery work? Now, I'm not going to go into too many details, but basically, to simplify something that is way too complex to spend an entire video on explaining, simply put, you have an NBA representative who select ping pong balls that will determine the first, second, and third pick in the NBA draft. So what exactly does this mean? It means that once the first, second, and third pick has already been selected from the NBA representative, the rest of the teams will go in order depending on their regular season record. The team with the worst record would go the fourth pick, then you have the fifth, sixth, seventh, all the way down to the remaining picks. So to give a better understanding of this, let's say hypothetically speaking, the number one pick was the Charlotte Hornets, the second pick was the Los Angeles Lakers, and the third pick was the Brooklyn Nets. From there, the fourth pick will end up being the Phoenix Suns, then the fifth pick will end up being the Philadelphia 76ers, and so on and so forth. It will then go into order of the worst record. Now, if you are a mathematician, you're probably looking at all of these numbers, adding them up, and you're probably coming to the conclusion that none of these numbers add up to 100%, and you would be correct. And the reason for this is because each team in the NBA lottery has a higher chance of getting the fourth pick or worse than they do in getting the first pick. Now, let me explain that in a better representation. Now, for example, let's take the Brooklyn Nets, the Phoenix Suns, and the Los Angeles Lakers. And as you clearly just saw in the previous graphic, these are here their odds for the first, second, and third pick. Now, this is their odds for the fourth, fifth, and sixth pick. So I'm pretty sure you can clearly see that the Brooklyn Nets, Phoenix Suns, and the Los Angeles Lakers, they actually have better odds in getting the 4th pick than they do getting the 1st pick. And also, if you're a Phoenix Suns and Los Angeles Lakers fan, you're probably trying to add up all of these numbers, trying to figure out what are the odds of your team staying in the top 3. Don't you dare worry, because I've already done the math for you. So when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets have a 64.3% chance of staying in the top 3, whereas they have a 35.7% chance of actually falling out of the top 3. The Phoenix Suns have a 55.8% chance of staying in the top 3, a 44.2% chance of not making the top 3. And here's where things get extremely tricky. The Los Angeles Lakers have a 46.9, only a 46.9% chance of making it in the top 3, whereas they have a 53.1% chance of not making it, which means that the likelihood that the Los Angeles Lakers will receive the 4th, 5th, or 6th pick is actually higher than they will receive the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd pick. Yes, I know, Los Angeles Lakers fans, that is ridiculous, but that is the truth. That is exactly how they set things up. Now, I know more people have multiple questions about this, so let me answer this fairly quickly. So the first question that I personally had was, since they're not picking all 14 teams anymore in the NBA season, there are multiple teams with the same exact record. How do they know which teams will go before the other one? An example is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks, who both ended up with the exact same record. And the answer to that question is they've already done another lottery for this. I will link that in the description below. Make sure you go check it out. I believe the Clippers were in that draft lottery. The Cavaliers is in that lottery. The Utah Jazz is in that lottery. It was a couple of teams. Now, another question that I think a lot of people have to ask is, if you are the New York Knicks or the Sacramento Kings, what are the odds of you moving up? So if you're, hypothetically speaking, the Sacramento Kings, if you don't get selected within the top 3 picks, then you don't move at all. If anything, there's a possibility that you get moved back. For example, if you are the Sacramento Kings or the New York Knicks, let's just say the Dallas Mavericks, they defy all the odds and they get the number 3 pick. That means that everybody from the 3rd pick down, or at least with the 3rd projection and down, everybody gets moved down a whole selection. So there's a possibility that if the Dallas Mavericks gets the 3rd overall pick, that means the Lakers would then move to 4, the Philadelphia 76ers will move to 5, Orlando move to 6, Minnesota move to 7, New York Knicks move to 8th, and the Sacramento Kings move down to 9. Everybody will move down 1 selection. But this also means that if you are the number 1 pick, which is the Brooklyn Nets, that means that there's absolutely no way that you will go any lower than the 4th pick. And the last question that I know a lot of people are going to have is, which teams get other teams' picks this year? Because we all know there's a lot of teams who traded away their draft picks in the following seasons. So let me just break down exactly where all of these draft picks will go. Starting with the Brooklyn Nets pick, the Boston Celtics have the right to swap their pick with the Brooklyn Nets. Then moving down to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers, if they do not fall either 1st, 2nd, or 3rd pick, then their pick will go to the Philadelphia 76ers. Moving all the way down to the Sacramento Kings, which is kind of funky. If the Sacramento Kings pick falls out of the top 10, then their pick goes to Chicago. And also when it comes to the Sacramento Kings pick, if their pick falls either 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, and the Philadelphia 76ers pick is lower than their pick, then the Philadelphia 76ers will have the right to swap their pick with the Sacramento Kings. Looking at the New Orleans Pelican pick, this is a top 3 protected pick, so if it falls 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, then they get to keep their pick. However, if it doesn't, then the Sacramento Kings will get the pick from the New Orleans Pelicans. Moving all the way down to the 20th pick, which is the Memphis Grizzlies, that pick will go to the Portland Trail Blazers. At 22, this right here is the Washington Wizards pick, that pick will go to the Brooklyn Nets. At 23, you have the Los Angeles Clippers pick, that pick will go to the Toronto Raptors. At 25, you have the Toronto Raptors pick, that will go to the Orlando Magic. At 26, you have the Cavaliers pick, that will go to the Portland Trail Blazers. At 28, you have the Houston Rockets, that pick will go to the Los Angeles Lakers. And the 30th pick is obviously the Golden State Warriors, that pick will go to the Utah Jazz. If you have any further questions, people, please leave it in the comment section below. I will gladly answer it as much as possible. And like I stated before, May 16th, ESPN, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check your local listing. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel because you won't be able to get any content like this anywhere else. And with all that being said, I will see you all later. Peace.